Hey guys, I'm Cesare. It's the first week of October, so I wanted to do another list video, a kind of top 5, top 6 scary books or horror novels or horror stories for you to read around Halloween. Last time I did a video like this was my top 5 horror books that haven't been turned into movies yet. This is going to follow a similar structure where I'm giving preferential treatment to books that I was able to take down off my bookshelves. Books, for the most part, that I've read kind of recently. Books that are fresher in my mind, and books that I want to kind of get the word out about and talk about these authors. My main thing is I didn't want to repeat authors from the last video, so I don't think I do any of that here. And I didn't want to kind of repeat genres, so no like vampires, because we had a vampire novel last time. So I try to keep it all new, all exciting. If you're anything like me, clearly I live this all year, but if you're anything like me, once the weather starts getting a little chillier, I kind of internally get very excited, because I'm like, all right, it's go time, baby. It's time to get that pumpkin spice coffee brewing. It's time to put out your plastic bag ghosts out on the trees outside. It's time to carve a jack-o'-lantern. It's time for Halloween. And I know this is a nostalgic holiday for the majority of us because we like this stuff growing up. But there's something about enjoying it as an adult and enjoying it as a reader. Kind of building TBR lists, especially for Halloween, especially for this holiday, this season, that gets me really excited as a reader and as a movie watcher. Not going to be talking so much about movies this episode, but if you watch any of my other videos, what I usually do is I review a movie and then I give a book recommendation. If you just stumbled through, found this in the YouTube search, wondering a little bit about me, I do write books. I'm not going to try to sell them to you right now. I'll try to sell them to you at the end of the video. But if you're interested in finding out more about me, down in the description there is a link to my website, to my mailing list, where I'm giving out like a free ebook if you sign up. So just a heads up that you're going to have a sales pitch later, and I kind of gave you one right now. But onto the list. Let's talk about six creepy, scary, horrifying books for your Halloween reading time. The first book I'm going to be talking about is an anthology, a multi-author anthology. I kind of grew up loving books like this. They were my favorite kind of thing to go and grab at Barnes & Noble or Borders when Borders was around. They were my favorite kind of thing because they exposed me to new authors, and you got kind of like a sampler pack and you could try a little bit of everything. And I think around Halloween, that's especially true of my own reading. I try to read short stories, I try to read anthologies, because I don't want to get too married to one book, read like an epic tome and just have that be my entire month. I want to kind of supplement my reading with shorter stories, shorter shocks. So of these multi-author anthologies, of these themed, seasonal themed anthologies, one that sticks out in my head is Halloween, edited by Paula Garan. This is one of my favorite kind of reprint anthologies. Thematically, everything is linked to Halloween, so if you're reading around this time of year, it makes perfect sense. There's a good mix of like length in here. There's like a Peter Straub novella. There's maybe a few other novellas, and there's a good mix of vintage. Because there is a Lovecraft story in here and a Bradbury story. Those are kind of common reprints, but they are kind of accented with newer writers like Sarah Langan and Charlie Jacobs and kind of like newer classic writers like Joe Lansdale. People I really like. There's a Thomas Ligotti story that starts this off right, kind of starts it off on a creepy foot. I really love this collection. It's a few years old now. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's still in print. I haven't really checked, but I'll put, as with all the books, I'll put the links down in the description. I tried to keep it to books that are still in print. So I think this is Paula Garan edited Halloween. It's just called. Might be harder to Google because there are probably a ton of books with that title. Maybe a few movies with that title too. But I highly recommend it if you're gonna. It's like a 500 something page anthology. If you're gonna get kind of one book, if you're not that big a horror reader, but you want something for the season, get this book, check out the authors inside it, and they'll probably give you a good direction of what you like, what you don't like, how you can kind of construct further reading in the genre. And that's the great thing about these they get the gospel out there, and I think Paula Graham is a wonderful editor. She chose some great stories here. All right, my next book I don't have a visual aid for because I only have the ebook, and I'm not even going to go through the trouble of holding out my e-reader and having it be all glossy and you not be able to see it. But this book is Painted Monsters by Oren Gray. This is another collection of stories, but this is a single author collection. It's only Oren Gray stories, all Oren Gray, all the time. I love this collection. His first collection, Never Bet the Devil, was great. I think this one's even better. It's heavily movie themed, and I am a movie guy, so it hits me in just the right places. It's got kind of like a Roger Corman, classic horror, Mike Mignola, Guillermo del Toro kind of feel to it. It's all monster stories, and it's all monsters somehow relating to film. Really, really great collection. Gray is anthologized kind of all over the place. I think he's starting to get like the notoriety he deserves, and starting to get the notice, like best of the year inclusions and stuff like that. But he's just a flat out fantastic writer. He does fantasy stuff as well. He does like War Machine and Hordes, tabletop gaming tie-ins and stuff like that. But he's a horror guy and a monster guy, kind of born and bred, and I think the best place to start with him is his collection, Painted Monsters. All right, book 3 in our ongoing creepy, get you in the mood for Halloween reading list. It's the only book on this list that probably wouldn't be stocked under the horror section if it were in a bookstore, a used bookstore, or something like that. And it's also by an author that you probably have heard of, may have read, Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects. Flynn had a really, really huge monster hit with Gone Girl, and wrote the script for the David Fincher film adaptation. A great movie. It's a great book. Sharp Objects, I think, is even creepier. It's definitely creepier. Definitely more messed up. A little bit more traditional in its murder mystery kind of structure. Probably would be filed under crime or thriller if you were to like look for it in the store. But it belongs on this list because it has some really, really gross, disturbing visuals, and a kind of overarching mystery plot that is very, very reminiscent of Robert Bloch, of Psycho, of both the film and the book. Messed up family relations, psychologically damaged heroes. It is a really, 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 I was almost gonna say fun, but it's not really fun at all. It's a really, really messed up, quick read, not a very long book, great, tight clockwork mystery that has a great reveal ending that is very, very morbid and very, very much in keeping with the Halloween season. So even if you're like a diehard horror fan and you're watching this video and you're like, what is that mystery writer doing here? This, for all intents and purposes, is a horror novel, and I urge you to check it out if you haven't read it. All right, another book that I do not have the physical edition for, Disappearance at Devil's Rock by Paul Tremblay. Last year, Paul Tremblay's Head Full of Ghosts was kind of the critical darling book of the year. It was one of my favorite books of the year. I can't remember if I've mentioned it in a video before. I actually don't think I have. But his follow-up this year is called Disappearance at Devil's Rock. It concerns a disappearance at Devil's Rock. If you've been keeping up with my videos, you know I really enjoy the Blair Witch series of films. And this book kind of has that feel to it. It has that feel of like a real-life tragedy / mystery that has these kind of urban legend tendrils sweeping out into it. It's a very, very creepy book. It's a very sad book. I like it a lot. It's kind of melancholy if outside it's not so nice, if it's cloudy, if you're kind of in that fall funk. And you want to kind of embrace it and go a little deeper into it. I very much recommend Disappearance at Devil's Rock by Paul Tremblay, and Head Full of Ghosts if you haven't read it, because both are fantastic. But I think I like the newer one even a little bit better. It's probably my favorite book of the year so far, besides Mongrels, which we're actually going to talk about in a second. All right, fifth book and the last visual aid that I have, After the People Lights Have Gone Off, by Stephen Graham Jones. Stephen Graham Jones, I've done the whole video about his newest book, Mongrels, werewolf novel, coming of age werewolf story. After the People Lights Have Gone Off is a single author collection. It is a mostly reprint collection. It's almost halfway like a greatest hits or like a B-sides and rarities kind of collection. I love the stories in it. It's actually not my absolute favorite Stephen Graham Jones collection. That would be The Ones That Got Away. But I think that actually might be out of print or isn't as easy to get. So I didn't want to fully recommend that. Plus, I have this one to hold up and to show you that it's just a beautiful book. It's got this, like, it's got illustrations. It's got this cool kind of design to it. Dark House Press did a really great job with this. It's a really great looking book. And Stephen Graham Jones, I've mentioned him on the show before in my book recommendations. Flat out, probably my favorite horror writer working. Just awesome stuff. And after the People Lights Have Gone Off is as good a place as any to start with him, especially around the season, especially since they all are darker horror themed stories, and especially because one of the stories in here is actually kind of a version of the first chapter of his novel Mongrels. So if you like the werewolf story in here and you want to do some further reading, that's kind of the perfect place to just continue going through and keep reading Stephen Graham Jones. This collection is fantastic. That other one I mentioned was The Ones That Got Away, and you really can't go wrong with any of his books. Check them out. Last but not least, certainly not least, I wanted to talk about Stranded by Bracken McLeod. A book so new that it just came out as I'm recording this. It just came out today, I think. And I only have a ebook ARC. I'm going to get a hardcover of it at some point. I'm going to go out to Barnes & Noble and go grab it. But right now, all I have is the ebook ARC. Doesn't even have a cover on it. I can't even hold up the cover to show you. So I'll flash it up. Stranded is billed as, I think this even might be like the official pitch, is billed as Jacob's Ladder meets The Thing. It's a bunch of guys who are heading out from Washington, a bunch of roughnecks, kind of on a commercial boat. They're gonna go to an oil derrick where they're gonna like set up and move supplies and things like that. But they don't get there. Their book starts. There's a storm. They're blown off course. Everyone's kind of got these dull, throbbing headaches. They're not sure what they're coming from. The people on the boat, our protagonist Noah, is fighting with the captain of the boat, who is also his father-in-law, and something terrible has happened in their past. So a lot of terrible things have happened in their past, and they kind of hate each other. They kind of want to kill each other. Half the crew is kind of divided up, along with our protagonist, and like they're choosing sides, and that's before even like the supernatural element kind of gets to there, because at a certain point they look down, they think they're making progress. They look down over the side of the boat, and they're surrounded in ice. The boat is completely stuck. They don't know how close they are to the oil derrick. It is to call it claustrophobic would be an understatement. And it's not exactly seasonal. Like, it's not like, fall weather and fall leaves and, hot cocoa. It's not that kind of seasonal tie-in. But for someone who's looking for a claustrophobic, creepy, like kind of white knuckle story around Halloween, you can't go any better than Stranded by Bracken McLeod. Just came out. I just finished up pre-release arc of it. Bracken is my buddy, and he's going to be selling books alongside me at Rock and Shock 2016. But if I didn't like his book, I wouldn't have put him on this list. It's great. Out now from Tor, I believe. All right, so that is it. 6 spooky, creepy, skin-crawling, ghoulish delights for Halloween. Books to check out. As with all my videos, I've thrown links in the description if any of these sounded up your alley and you wanted to check more of them out. If you like this video, please hit like. If you really like this video, please subscribe. If you have some other Halloween books that you want to tell me about, please say so in the comments. I'm always looking for new reads. If you've done all those things, if you liked, if you subscribed, if you were a constant commenter, and you're like, Adam, I want to know how else I support you, how else I support this channel, how else I support you making these videos and talking about all this crap. The best way to do that, I don't have a Patreon, I don't have any of that stuff, I'm not asking for handouts, but the best way to do that is if you like my aesthetic, if you like my taste, you'll probably like the books I write, of which there are many, or books that I'm in, of which there are many, and you can go check them out online. They're all available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all other fine retailers. Check them out. I'd really like to hear from you if you have checked them out. That's my little sales pitch. As I said earlier, if you are interested and you want to try before you buy, go over to my website. There's an email sign up, email mailing list sign up. You get a free ebook with 2 short stories and a novel excerpt in it, just to check out, see if you like my stuff, see if you like my writing. I'm Adam Cesare. This has been Project Black T-Shirt. Have a happy Halloween, and I'll see you later this month with more horror-themed, Halloween-themed content. Have a great day.